Hi again. After quite a long absence from the shed, a few things have changed in here. I've got the John Deere out. That's probably going to go. I used it last year as a good mower, but I've sort of got backups in Honda now, so I don't really need this John Deere any longer. The bench is a bit of a mess, but generally the rest of the shed isn't that bad. I can work in here. But I was cutting, I forget what job it was on now. I was cutting a hedge, and the hedge cutter jammed my Kombi attachment. So I tried the obvious. I thought the little bolts had gone tight on the blade and was jamming it. I loosened them, and that wasn't the case. I had let it run a little bit dry on the blade, but they weren't stuck. But so I couldn't really do anything on the job. When I got home, I investigated, and see it's all apart now, and it's these pieces. I'll actually show you them when they're out of the packet, but it's like the bearings in there. The bearings had all sort of broke up and jammed it. So the gear there, the teeth are alright. It's a little bit of marking on the where the bearings run, but I don't think it's too bad. I think that'll be okay. These come in at about £16 each. Just bear with me, I'll undo it and I'll show you what the part looks like. Yeah, I got it out of the packet now. It's just that part, so that, well, I must be careful because that little cap's come out with the bearings all in place. I'll leave that in place there. But yeah, they're just, it comes with the whole unit with the bearings and everything in. I tried to find the little bearing things and fit them back in the old one, but I couldn't do that because I'd lost some. I'm going to clean this out now, probably with some petrol to get it really clean in there. This is due to lack of maintenance really. The oil had gone all, the grease had gone all crumbly and that. I don't look after my tools great, I must be honest about that. So I'm having to pay for it now, but all the teeth look good, even that one there, the drive one that gets onto the main one that runs the blades. They don't look bad, so I'll give it a good clean out. I'm going to get a bit more life out of this, I hope. The blade isn't too bad, and what really annoyed me was I've got a backup one of these, and I used that for one job because I needed to cut a hedge. I went and caught, it was nearly new, this one. I bought it second hand, but it was really good, and I chipped one. I caught a bit of metal on the tooth and chipped a little bit. Really annoyed because that was one I was sort of holding back for real sort of nice pristine hedges where I needed a real sort of razor sort of sharp cut. This one I used for the sort of more rubbish stuff, so I was a bit annoyed about that. But what can you do when these things happen? They happen, and you can't go back on it. So what I'm going to do now, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a prolonged job. Giving that a good clean, I'll let that soak in a bit of petrol and that. Get everything else cleaned up. There is a gasket on there. I'm going to try and save that. It isn't actually oil in here, it's only grease, so the gasket hasn't got to be quite as good as if it was oil. I don't know how much grease I've got. I've got a couple of little, I don't know whether it's going to be enough. I've got the Stihl grease things. I would prefer to use that, so I might just pack as much of that in as I can. Then I'll see if Stihl must do a tub of it. My local dealers must, so I'll sort of get back together, and then before I use it, make sure it's pumped right full of grease, and then hopefully this is back in working order again. I will sharpen the blade. I've moved on a little bit with this. I've give it a good clean. It's a little bit corroded around some areas in there. I've picked up what I can, but it's good enough. So I've cleaned the top part as well, good enough. So if I just show you how it goes, I'm just waiting for that another one of these plates to just soak. So that goes on first. Then you fit one of them new pieces in, like so. Just sort of show you roughly here, and then that goes in over the top, and then that all locates in a hole in the bottom, and then there's another one. The other one of them goes on top. Then you've got another one of them little silver plates, and then the gasket, which I haven't cleaned up yet either, and then you put the top part on, and that's all that runs your hedge cutters really. Oh, also as well, you have to fit in the blades at the end. I just don't want the little bearing bits to fall out, but it's as easy as that. It's only what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 section bit, 5 pieces before you put the top back on, and also the blade. So it's pretty straightforward really. well worth repairing if you've got one of the jams up, rather than just throw away, because these are not cheap. I think they're the best part of £300, so you can get a deal on them for sort of £250 or whatever, but it's still quite a lot of money. If you can make your hedge cutter last a little bit longer, it's well worth it. So I'll just sort of show you it when I've put it back together. And I'll see if I can find some grease to pump in there for it to give it a good start. Then I can use a little locating hole wherever it is on these, it must be on the other side, to pump the rest of the grease until it's got enough grease in to be good enough. So I'll show you when it's sort of put together. I've jumped along a little bit now. I forgot to tell you there's a little plastic clip that goes in there when you get the blade in. And I actually have greased it up. I should show you it before I greased it, but it was pretty straightforward. You'll know if you take one apart how easy it is to put back together. Just check for wear on the teeth really. If you haven't got wear on the teeth, you can sort of save it. I've cleaned up the gasket. I didn't grease it too much before I put it all in, but the grease inlet, the other side, I can pump the grease in from that side when it's back together. So my job is now just clean a little bit of that grease off around the side. Let's put my gloves off now, just a little bit around there, just make sure the edge is clean at the moment. And then I'll finish off in a minute. Then it's just the gasket on and the cover on, and we should be good to go. If I can get to the other end, I should be able to show you it working. There we go. You can see it's all working. See, it's all working nicely now, so that isn't jammed anymore. I'm quite sure that corrects the problem. Fraction bit of play on the top where the old bearings had worn a bit, but I'm sure this is going to have a good few years left in it. And I don't actually know how much the new larger cog is, but it's still got to be cheaper than buying the whole new section. I have seen a lot of these and they get cracked round there on the casing, so then they probably are a bit sort of finished, but this one is quite good. I bought it. It was an ex-hire one, actually been sort of refurbished or whatever, and I've had it probably 2 or 3 years now. So it's done quite well, and I have really put it through its paces really. But I must remember to put the grease in more often because the grease had got all crumbly. But anyway, I know it should be all done. It's all done now. I'll put it on the Hedgecutter, as you can hear. Well, the end, power unit end. It runs nice and smoothly now. And this is quiet as it's been for a long time, so I think they've been on their way out for a while. I've just WD-40'd the end, but I usually just drip a bit of chainsaw chain oil on it every now and then to keep the blade lubricated. I have got to sharpen the blade still, like I said, but I looked at it, isn't that bad. So yeah, that's the end I use on it more. I did have I think it's the KM100, the 4-mix, but I prefer the standard 2-stroke one, which is a KM80 94 RC, I think it is. So yeah, this one hasn't got valves, the 4-mix has, that's the difference. So yeah, that's up and ready to go again. So I'm pleased I got that one out of the way.